Hey there, Sanka, everybody. Welcome back for another amazing episode with the Marhaba Crypto Show. Today, as you guys can see, it's a little bit different than your usual visual representation. We had some technical difficulties, but we said we are not going to stop today's show and we're going to bring it to you guys. So, as always, I have Moby Siddiq here with me. How are you doing, Moby? How are the kangaroos? Are they hopping? What's going on?
Good, Mr. Ahmed. We're very, very well. I noticed you ask me that question like almost every week, and you've never been to Australia. Like, do you guys just think that in Australia we have like kangaroos and koalas and just big spiders? Like, is that what you think? Because like
Yeah.
I see a kangaroo maybe once every 2 years, and I have to go hour and a half drive somewhere. Like, just so you know, like I wish I could say there's a kangaroo in my backyard, but there's not.
Like,
But yeah,
it's the same thing, right? In Canada, you see beavers everywhere. In the Middle East, there's camels everywhere. This is how it is. This is the thing. Like, I'm pretty sure you got kangaroos hopping around everywhere. So it's like it's the same thing.
yeah, I guess it could be a lot worse, right? Could be a lot worse. But no, alhamdulillah, everything's very well, man. I'm a lot better than the
Mashallah,
market is.
mashallah.
Let's put it that way. A lot better.
Oh man, the market is an interesting time right now. We're obviously gonna get in that. But yeah, let's get this thing started. Before I get started, I'm showing Moby this. Man, look what I found here, guys. In the middle of the wild. This is supposed to be a wild watermelon. I don't know what it's supposed to be. It's a wild something. If you're from the Arab region, this is I found this while going in Riyadh, while going to the edge of the world. That's what the place is called. It's like this massive, beautiful terrain canal area. It's like a canyon, and I mean, it was phenomenal. I'll share some pictures with you guys next time if you guys really want to see them. But I found this there in the wild. I don't know what it is. It looks like a watermelon, but when I broke one, it smells like watermelon. So I think it's wild watermelon, but I'm just like my curiosity is everywhere. I'm in shock and in awe and in shock also with the creation of Allah. Subhanallah, it looks very interesting. Anywho, on a more serious note,
You know what, guys? Ahmed did the same thing to me as well. We jumped on. He goes, "I got to show you this thing," and I'm like thinking, what is this? Like, what is this? Like, I know Ahmed, astaghfirullah, does not do drugs. I know that. So it must be like, I don't know, like you haven't slept or something. Like, I'm like, why am I looking at this? And so if you guys are thinking, why
does it not fascinate you? Look at
I
this
jumped
tiny,
onto
tiny.
I jumped
Look
onto
at
this
this.
crypto show to find out why the market has fallen on itself. And
Okay,
this guy is showing me like miniature watermelons. I had the same thought, guys. So that was not part of the
it's
plan.
real. It's actually real. Like, look, my curiosity is alhamdulillah the reason why I do a lot of adventurous things, and this is one of them. I just was like, what is this? I rarely gotta find out. I'm gonna do a post-mortem on this after, uh see what it's inside of and all that stuff. Anywho, okay, let's get this thing started. Movie, what are the updates? What's going on with the market? Why are you not buying bitcoins? Your will make the market
I'm
goes
a
back
whale.
up.
I'm a, you say I'm a whale? Is that what you said?
You're a
Okay,
big
okay.
will.
I Man, if I was a whale, I probably would have people doing this market update for me. But anyway, all good, all good. So look, let's remove all the suspense right now. Like, you don't need me to tell you this, guys. You know, we are obviously clearly in a bear market. And I guess what I want to discuss is why, how, what is the technical definition, and you know what I'm personally doing, right? And I want to go back to some basics and fundamentals soon. But before I do that, last week I did say that we are in an incredibly uncertain time with Bitcoin right now. And I literally said, I went back to the show, I said we could go back to 30K as equally as we could go to 60. And I actually also said that the low could be 34K because that's long-term support. And that is the 21-month moving average. Well, lo and behold, obviously we went down, and you know that's not a secret anymore. And we did fall to about 34K. At time of
Mhm.
recording, we're about 35K. It's a very precarious level right now. And look, let's talk about technically like how, right, and why.
Mhm.
So if I just share my screen, and guys, you will have to thank you for bearing with me today. Obviously, we're using Zoom because our normal software, it didn't work today, but that's okay. We will persist. But if you guys can see my screen right now, and Ahmed, you can see my screen too now.
Yeah.
Awesome, awesome. So if you guys can see my screen right now, we had 3 weekly candles. Actually, let me go to the weekly. If I go to the weekly here. So here you can see like 3 weekly, just look at my cursor. We had like 3 weekly candles close below the EMA, right? And this was a level that I was watching before last week. And if you sort of look at like what that pattern means, like if we've done that before, well, the last time this happened was in May. If I go back to May, you can see here, you can see we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And you see here, where it's kind of, not that this is a fractal, I'm not trying to make it a fractal, but we're almost like halfway through that, right? Like if you can see this Ahmed, it went 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, right? So we're kind of like at this point, which means that there might be a little bit more to go. So that was the last time that happened. The time before that happened is, if you go back here, which was in March 2020, which of course was when we had the COVID crash, right? So not too dissimilar from right now. And one thing I will sort of, I want you guys to note that in this point here in 2020, when we were around the point we are now, so if I actually go down, if I turn back on my drawings, you'll see here on the RSI, the same time, if I actually go back on the daily, actually, the last time we were at this RSI, this low point here, and then the first time we hit that last time, we actually dropped a further 20% or a further 18 to 20%. Now, are we going to drop a further 18 to 20%? I don't know. I guess all I'm trying to say is when you look at the last time this pattern emerged, where we closed below the 21-month EMA, we dropped anywhere from 20% to, even a little bit more. So, we're not here to sort of talk about FUD. We're here to talk about, I guess, what other possibilities are we more likely to go to the upside and more likely to go to the downside? At this point, if you were to ask me, I'd say downside. Okay, so what do these patterns tell us, right? Well, in 2020, if you look here in 2020, again, we broke down below the 21-week moving average. We had this green spinning top, right? Now, green spinning top or any spinning top often can be a reversal, can show a reversal, right? We had that there. But we also, back in 2021, in May, we also had a spinning top, right? And that could have, almost not been a fake out, but that might have led you to believe that, oh, look, we have a pattern reversal. But no, we dropped a further 18%. So I guess either we're going to hover around where we are or drop down a little bit more. Now, if I go back to the day, if I actually go to the daily to reveal a little bit more information, the other thing that concerns me a little bit is, and astute observers probably have noticed this already, if you see my screen, Ahmed, can you notice like this head and top, right? You've got this scary head and top kind of forming as well. So you got the head, the shoulder there, sorry, the shoulder, the head and shoulders, and then the shoulder here. So one head, two shoulders there. Now, if you were to kind of draw that out, and I'll quickly show you guys what that looks like, just do a really, really messy one. If you take the target from the head all the way to the bottom there, that takes us to about 22 to 24,000. If I draw it properly, I did it before, $22 to $24,000. Are we going to go down to that level? I'm not saying that we are, but what I will say again, if you look at the RSI, the last time we were at this RSI, this level of RSI was March 2020, right? And we wicked a further 20%. So when I look at the patterns from before, when I look at the RSI, when I look at where we were the last time we had a number of wicks below the 21-week moving average, I see a pattern in March 2020 where we dropped a further 20%. Now, the good news is, right, and even when I say this, guys, I'm trying not to be negative here, right? But the good news is that there is a lot of support from here to $30,000, right? There's a lot of support from here to $30,000. Also, $34,000, like I mentioned again last week, is the support around the 21-month moving average. But when we do break that, we break that quite heavily, and we broke that twice before. So there could be a little bit more pain before there's any gain. $30,000 is also the average buy range for Michael Saylor. So obviously one of the world's biggest Bitcoin holders. So obviously someone like Michael Saylor, he's not going to let this opportunity pass, right? He doesn't see Bitcoin the way you and I see Bitcoin. That's part of a global, huge empire, right? So he's not going to let that opportunity pass. He's got too much invested. But even then, even as I'm sort of saying this, guys, you can see I'm like trying to scrape the bottom of the barrel here, right? In terms of bullish price behavior. Anyway, again, that's not enough to back your checks off. Michael Saylor and the fact that we have a lot of support from 33 to 30. We actually had a lot of support from 37 to 44, and obviously we broke those levels. So do I think it's going to go lower? I think it is more likely to go lower than higher. Two reasons. The one reason I mentioned before, the bearish levels, the RSI levels mirroring 2020, but also something that Will Clement brought to my interest is the level of open interest has still not been flushed. Now, not to get too technical, but open interest tells you how much leverage there is. If there's a lot of open interest, that means there's a lot of buy and sell orders that are futures essentially. And the more open interest you have, the more leverage trading and volatility you can have. So unlike, if you guys can see here, you guys can see on my screen here, unlike here, where in May 2020, where obviously we had that big drop off, you saw a lot of the open interest drop. That hasn't happened like before. It actually hasn't happened. So there's still a lot of open interest out there. And we've said on this show, like until, we're blue in the face, this is why leverage trading is one of the reasons why leverage trading is not permitted, right? Because it just makes, bull markets bullish, more bullish, and bear markets a lot more bearish as well. So just something to keep an eye on. Now, what should you keep an eye on? Are there levels you need to keep an eye on? Is there a price target you need to keep an eye on? Well, if I go back to this, and Ahmed, if you remember this, this chart that we've shown time and time again, you can sort of see, like what's happened, right? And I shared this a few weeks ago. You had the Fed tapering, we dropped. You had the Fed double its tapering, we dropped. And then this time around, we had the Russia seeking crypto ban. Now, if this sounds like the Groundhog Day, it is. Russia has threatened this before. Last year, we had China. You remember the Evergrande collapse, remember the Chinese collapse, and we had these dips before. It's almost a cycle, right? But this time around, I'm not going to kind of undersell it. Russia is seeking not only to ban Bitcoin, but crypto and mining in general, right? When you look into why, this is actually quite funny, right? They want to do a blanket ban on the country's local digital asset and mining sectors. So that's all of crypto, all of DeFi. I guess that includes NFTs as well. But Ahmed, I found this a little bit funny because they said that, they liken cryptocurrencies to Ponzi schemes, and their assets are used to facilitate illegal activities within the region. Like, talk about a kettle calling it is something black, right? Like, or whatever that saying is. It's pretty ironic, Russia, kind of, pointing the finger here. But, that's what we're sort of seeing right now. So that was one factor. The other factor why we obviously saw the decline is, and this, to be honest, I know it doesn't make you feel any better if you're hurting right now, if you've lost a lot of crypto, if you've lost a lot of funds, but just know that this isn't a crypto thing. This is a global market thing.
Yep.
S&P 500, gold, silver, euro, yen, everything is down. Everything is on the decline. So this isn't, maybe it is a concerted attack on crypto. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. Maybe people are trying to flush, normal people like us. Who cares, right? You can go blue in the face to try to think about, is this manipulation or not? All we know, this does happen. This happens once or twice a year, and it's our time sort of right now. But before I sort of, I guess, go further, I guess, I want to get your thoughts on it, right? Obviously, the market is, we're seeing a lot of bullish news, and we're seeing a lot of it in a very, very concentrated amount of time. So what are your thoughts? What sort of advice would you have for the market right now?
As of now, or what we've been giving before, as of now, I would say look at this opportunity. Look, if you had followed the strategy that we've given, you must have not bled, and now you have a bigger opportunity to jump back into the market. For example, if you have those stop losses in place, you would have exited your like your investments in a healthy spot, probably in a profitable spot, and now you can start looking into the opportunity of where that curve starts back up, where everybody's looking for that big opportunity, where Moby is saying it could be around 30. I personally think it might be around 32, 33. At worst, maybe 28, but if it goes anywhere lower than that, then we're like deep into the bear market, like the ones from the past, where it takes a few years to come back out. And at that point, I would say if you already have your investments out, in USDT, then start looking into how you can put your USDT into actual use cases in global markets where you can spend that money into like real other investments. For example, real estate. You can take your USDT, go to places like Dubai, and make those investments happen and buy real estate and then put them up for Airbnb, because tourism is supposed to take a hike in about, let's say, this summer because of the Omicron finishing. I mean, that's what they're looking at. But yeah, so this is something that you could look into. But for crypto specifically, I would say, and you didn't get a chance to get your crypto out and you have your crypto in your wallet. Like for me, still have some crypto that's like specifically in my wallet, and I didn't have any stop losses on purpose because for me, I'm not trying to exit them regardless. Just hold. It's a long-term investment. Um, it's like, like what my brother did. He put some money in and he said, this is not for me, this is for my future generation, and that's it. He's not thinking about it, put it into a hard wallet and done. So that's my other thing. And the last thing is, if you had followed what we had said, do not invest something that you are emotionally attached to and your family is attached to, because then you're gonna have a very bad situation with yourself personally. So mental health, physical health is much more valuable than any form of financial health. So you got to be careful with all those things. Absolutely. Just a few pointers.
But one thing I will say, that one thing is almost we have consensus over, that we are in a bear market right now, right? So, it doesn't matter what level you look at, everyone's going to say slightly different things. Like, if this target here, again, this head and shoulders that I was talking about before, if that hits, that's a technical target of $22,000 to $24,000, right? Which is also very, very, very strong level of support from back in December of 2020. So that's also a very, very strong level. So you have our 30K that needs to be broken. Then obviously from there, there's not a lot to stop us to hit 22. Now, will we hit there? I don't know. I don't think so. But if I'm honest, I didn't think we were going to lose 40 either. Right. So yeah. I guess like what you got to just be kind of mindful of is this pattern that we mentioned before. Ahmed, if you can see my screen, we've been showing this for a few months now. We're definitely in bearish territory. Like you need to see here that we need to kind of get to, there's like multiple rungs to the upside. Like we're not going to have a V-shaped recovery. Like it's not going to just go like this, all the way like that.
Check
right?
Mark.
Like it's
Nike, just do it.
Exactly. It's not going to be a Nike situation. It's highly unlikely. Right? The trend is your friend, and usually you don't go against the trend. So for us to go back into bullish, you need to hit like, some people saying 44, whatever. According to this model right now, we need to be above, about $48,000 or so. Now, anyway, something that you said that I want to talk about now, Ahmed, is like, what should you do then, right? Like, what should you actually do? And honestly, like, you have to go back to your basics. Like I was thinking about this, right? Like this show is a really important show for a number of reasons, because we do this show once a week. I know a lot of you guys look to us for our thoughts and our advice. A lot of you guys have, even though we say not financial advice, you do your own research and then you buy the coins that we often recommend. But, there's a lot of like, I guess, almost felt responsibility that we have. I don't want to say you should buy everything or sell everything. But I will say is you go back to the basics. And this is something that you were just touching on a second ago, Ahmed. And the best analogy I can give you is like when you watch like, when you watch a boxing match, right? Even if you've seen a movie, and what happens when the fighter's on the ropes? Like what happens when that fighter is just getting battered round to round to round? And if you listen in those corners carefully, they go back to basics. They're like, keep your hands up, keep your hands up. Use the jab, like the first punch you get taught in boxing. Use the jab, keep your hands up. So you're told the basics. And like Ahmed said a second ago, and let me just add some color to that, stuff that we were sharing in the past. So Ahmed, I mentioned this in the past. I've adopted a lot of your strategy for that. Take every 20% take profit. And the other thing that I sort of added to that was like, if I enter a trade, I'm only going to accept 20% loss. So I want you guys to think about that for a second. If you look for good projects at good entry points, right? You're not FOMOing in. So you're looking for a relatively good level. So you're already in a decent level, number one. Then if you accept a 20% loss, that's all you're going to accept. Chances are, if it's going to drop 20% after that level, it's going to drop a lot more. And hopefully that makes sense to you guys. So in theory, hypothetically, you bought in on a good level and then it dropped another 20%. If it dropped 20%, and it's a good project, it's likely to drop a lot more. And just this last week, I saw that. Like there was a lot of coins I had, minus 20%, and those stop loss triggered. There was a couple that I got emotional on, and I was like, no, let me hold it. Let me hold. Like, and I'll be honest with you guys. One was Kava, Kava. We can talk about that in another episode one day if you guys want to express some interest around it. And I let that drop to 30%, and then it dropped to about $3.84. And I'm like, look, you know what? I'm going to wait till it goes back up to 4 and sell. And I sold it, right? But the point is right now, a couple of things here. Look for relief rallies. Like if you're over leveraged, the best, we've said this before, the best trade you can often make is the one that helps you sleep at night, right? So, and just adopting that strategy, I've saved myself hundreds, if not thousands of dollars in the last week because, yeah, my stop loss is triggered, but then the market dropped a lot more. And I'm gonna continue with the market update. I want to talk about some key things that I am looking at, some cryptos that I'm looking at, a couple of them. But I just want to pause here, Ahmed, because I think this is a really, really important point, right? Go back to your basics, right? Go back to your basics until we see some really bullish news. And the Fed says that, okay, we're not gonna, specifically, if I can share, we're not going to increase interest rates, which I doubt it, right? Because the Fed is not going to accept 7% interest rate and lower, 7% inflation and lower interest rate. They're not going to do that, right? So unless we see some really, really bullish news and we see some key resistance levels broken to the upside, we are in a bear market, and that is okay.
So yeah, the show's starting to sound a little bit sad. So just to add a little spice into it, we were talking about this movie before the show. Funny is how the entire market is down, but there's one token that actually went up a little bit that we know of personally. Which token is that, Moby?
Yeah, I shared a tweet around this as well, Ahmed. So literally, I might drop into that for a second, but the MRHB token, right? So like literally everything else, like it's funny, when we had I think a couple of weeks ago, I think we were sitting at 4 cents, right? And me and brother Nakib, I think we were on a call or a group chat, and we were talking about it. There was a joke that people were calling it a stable coin. I mean, right now, to be honest, like not that this is not why I brought it up. Right now, stable coins sounds a really good idea. Like to be honest with you, like that's what you're looking for. Like no one like wants stable coins, but then when everything drops, it's like, oh, all of a sudden you want stable coins, right? But anyway, MRHB obviously went to 15 cents and it's been hovering around 10 cents. Dropped down to 9 cents, went back to 11 cents, but it's sitting at that 10%. And in the tweet that I shared earlier this week, I'm like, this is the only thing that's in the green or close to 0% is MRHB in my portfolio. And that talks to the community. That talks to the strength of the community, talks to the fact that people aren't in it for a pump and dump, and there's still utility on the cards, which I'm sure you're going to talk about. But
that's it.
But yeah,
right. It's utility that derives natural value to the tokens, right? This is why BNB is known to be really, really good performer, because everybody in the world is using BNB for all their transactions, build on it, use to do things with it. So right, it's about utility, creating utility. So yeah, I just wanted to add some fun partners. If you're an investor, exciting news for you, right? We're holding up to that 10 cents. So it sounds phenomenal. Mashallah,
yeah,
mashallah.
it does. And I'm showing my screen now. Literally go to crypto in my favorites. That's actually in the green. You can see here, not in it for the pump and dump. So this was a couple of days ago, but we're still sitting. I was there a second ago. We're still sitting at 10 cents. And this tweet was, when was this tweet? This tweet was, 15 hours ago, and a lot has happened in 15
I'd
hours.
rather be the same price rather than going down. While everybody else is going down, we're staying the same price. I'd rather have that than, the movement. I'd rather have no movement if the movement's going to be down.
Yeah, exactly.
So, alhamdulillah,
Exactly.
looks good in that sense. It's cool. Any other market updates, Moby?
Yeah, I do. Again, like this is not the gloom and doom show, right? Like we always talk about the fundamentals, and I'm going to keep it more around the investor thesis today. There's very little point for me looking at levels right now, because anything can happen. Like anything can happen right now, right? But there's definitely buying opportunities. And guys, stick around because I'm going to share 2 specific coins in addition to MRHB. So that's one I already shared with you. 2 specific coins that I'm looking to buying, on this dip, right? Anyway, so a couple of really, pieces of bullish news, right? Like we might be scrambling, we might be, not what like concerned about, do we sell, do we not sell? But big tech isn't. Big tech is steaming ahead. Some bullish news occurred last week. Is Twitter is introducing NFT profile pictures. So this is kind of like their version of the blue tick, right? The blue check mark, right? So if you have an NFT, specifically, I'll talk about which ones. You can actually connect your MetaMask, and then you have this, hexagon around your profile picture that denotes that you have an NFT that is legitimate, verified on the blockchain, and it's yours. Now, do not underestimate how powerful this is, because really, Ahmed, what this boils down to is the flex is here. In one of our
we talked about this.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you beat me to it. One of our early shows, we spoke about this, right? We're not the only ones, right? Gary Vee has been talking about this for a long time as well. The moment, and we were saying this, like start of 2021, people were saying like, if we can figure out the flex, because man, like you guys might not be like this, right? We might not be like this, but people like to show off. That's why people share things online. They like to show off. So the moment you can have the flex, that takes something that is not worth that much, which is already worth a lot, worth even more. So do not underestimate the power of the flex when it comes to this sort of stuff. Now, right now, you can only do it for Twitter Blue subscribers. So Twitter Blue is a service. I think you've got to pay a couple of dollars per month, and you get features that are a rip-off, not really worth it. But hey, people are going to pay for this. And it's only available on iPhones. It's only available in US, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, and only NFTs minted on Ethereum and stored on OpenSea. There is so many things we can unpack here that we don't have time for. But one thing I will say is Raoul Paul talks about the fact that Ethereum will always be around because it is the currency of culture. And that's what he means. You know what I mean? That's what he means. Like big tech, big companies, they cannot take risks with a Solana that is sitting at $85 today and was at $200 2 months ago. They cannot take that risk, right? They don't care about these high gas fees. That's who the gas fees are for. So that's why there's certain coins that I'm really bullish on that I'm not selling even in this dip. In fact, I'm looking to add to my position, right? So, and like I sort of said, this isn't just a Twitter thing. We had other news as well. Lamborghini this week is launching its own NFT series. The UFC is launching its own series with NFTs as well. And Walmart is launching its own crypto as well. All in the last week. They're launching their own crypto and their collection of NFTs as well. This tweet, you go ahead, Ahmed, please.
Yeah, I was good. This is some bullish news for sure. It's interesting to see the marketing being done behind this, and see how people are reacting to this news, because this is some decent quality news. Like it's funny how the market is reacting, but like this is kind of giving me, when I've studied the .com boom, when a lot of companies were starting to develop on the websites, and everybody was showing interest towards them. Sorry, not everybody was showing interest towards them, and there's just this very good quality technology was being developed. And then after people started accepting computers and having computers going on various websites, like I can see it in play right now with crypto. It's very interesting to see what's going on. Like, yes, there's a time where there's a lot of good .com and websites that were built, and technology that was built around it, but not a lot of people were buying it. So people were like, are we gonna? Because you did an entire culture change of global society, and that even to this day, like the .com is still not fully been fulfilled.
Yeah. I mean, the difference is we know it's like now, you can see old clips like, oh, the internet is a fad, right? You can see those. That's well and truly, like being myth busted, right? Well and truly.
Yeah.
So I hear what you're saying. Like it still hasn't realized its full potential, but we know it's legit. It's not going away anywhere. And what you're saying, it reminds me of, so we had the .com bust, right? Where the .com boom and the bust. So all these stocks, all these tech companies fell over, but the internet didn't slow down. You know what I mean? Like the technology didn't slow down. Like all these leap and bound developments didn't slow down. Yeah, a bunch of people lost money, a bunch of companies went bankrupt, It's going to happen right now. History always repeats itself.
Yeah,
Crypto is going to
exactly.
fall over. There's going to be a whole bunch of people who are going to be liquidated. People take too much interest and too much sort of, risk. Yeah, but guys, the technology is not slowing down. Like, you can still dollar cost average. Now's the time to think of being an investor, not a trader, right? And like the bullish news is like still continuing. So if I should go back to my screen here, every day, this is a tweet by Chris from crypto.com. Every day, the smartest engineers leave Google, Facebook, etc., to build products in the crypto industry. Tens of billions of dollars are being spent, right, in 2021 and in 2022, right? So continuing on that trend, and I'm going to run through this quite quickly just to kind of show you what's sort of happening. Facebook and Instagram are reportedly exploring plans to make, showcase, and sell NFTs, right? So Instagram's head, Adam Mosseri, recently said that Instagram was actively exploring NFTs. And right now, they are actively testing NFTs, the NFT showcasing feature, right? So, in social, guys, this already. Everyone just copies everyone. Instagram copies Snapchat and TikTok and da-da-da. YouTube copies TikTok. It's all like a rotating door, right? This is happening now. Twitter's already started it. Instagram is now actively looking at showcasing NFTs. They're not like public. They're not like those people in Instagram, like in Discord groups and in Telegram groups are like, will the devs do something? They're not like that. Like, when these people make investments and decisions, it's not for a 1 month, 2 month period, right? This is planned and sustained. And at some point they have to release it. At some point, as late as possible, they have to share it. I spoke about Walmart already. So I'm not going to speak about that now, but I will say, obviously, they have plans to enter the metaverse. Google Labs is getting into blockchain. Google Pay tiptoes towards crypto. And essentially what this article is talking about is that they have a payments division that is actively exploring cryptocurrency and using cryptocurrency, right? And they have also hired a bunch, and this talks to why I shared the tweet earlier, a bunch of blockchain, NFT sort of people. That's who these guys are hiring. That's where they're sort of investing. So really, really bullish news. This is what, like we said before, I don't want to, fill the airwaves with repeated stuff, but guys, this area is not really slowing down right now. Now, I did sort of say that there are cryptos I'm watching, and guys, everyone has a slightly different flavor. You guys know I'm big on layer ones and layer zeros. To be honest, they're probably the only, like the cryptos that are the least worst performing right now, so I think that thesis is holding out. But specifically, look at coins, like if you have a watch list, look at coins that they didn't dump as much, right? They didn't dump it, so everything dropped, but they didn't fall that far below. And the one that I want to talk about right now really quickly, and I'm not going to look at technical entry points. I've done that in the past. I think this is more of a long-term investing strategy. But the one I want to talk about right now, the first one is Cosmos, right? So Cosmos and Cosmos Hub, it is like the new Polygon. They have IBC, and IBC allows for other blockchains to share their liquidity. So like AVAX and Phantom and Cosmos, so they all can sort of work together. I'm also bullish on Carver because Carver also recently implemented IBC, which opens the liquidity of Cosmos to them. But anyway, with Cosmos, why I'm really interested is it's sitting right now at time of recording around $29. Now, of course, it's gone down like everything else. But if you look at the last 30 days, so you got the last 7 days, 26%, last 30 days, it's gone up 9.4%. So unlike Solana, Cardano, Ethereum, 20, 30% in the last month, in the last 30 days, so in the last month, it's gone up 9.4%. And it hasn't really dropped that far below. I'm actually waiting for this thing to drop to $20, and it's not budging past $29, $28, $30. So that's one I'm watching. The other one that I'm watching, and again, I spoke about this before, is Phantom. Phantom, like $2 is such strong support right now. I know I sound like a broken record, guys, but if I go to DeFi Llama, like I've been doing the last couple of weeks, Ahmed, if you remember, I was talking about, Phantom was 2 billion or 1 billion off of Solana. Look at it this way. In 7 days, it's gone up 37%. It's the only one that's got more than like a few billion that's actually gone up in the green. And look where Solana is. It's actually trumped Solana and trumped Avalanche as well. It's now sitting at 9.72 billion. Remember, like guys, I started talking about Solana declining when it was at 14 billion. So you guys got to pay attention. You got to listen to the show. You got to take our advice and do your own research and make investment thesis. And that's showing in the price action. Solana's sitting at like $80, $90 right now, right? Phantom is sitting at $2. It was at like, if we look in the last month, it's gone up 25%. In the last 7 days, sure, it's lost 30%, but it went all the way up to like $3.20, So all these two coins, their rallies have been in Jan. Their all-time highs have been in Jan. So they're not dropping below June, July, whatever, right? Now, not to end on some bearish news, but like, this is what not to do, right? This is the coins to kind of look away from. So Ahmed, I've been speaking about Cardano, not nice things for a long time now, for over a quarter. And if you listen to me, you guys would have got out at around $2. But Sunday Swap launched, right? Now that sounds like some bullish news. So Sunday Swap is their first DEX. That's their first decentralized exchange. They launched. But before it launched, what people don't realize is Cardano's, what do they call it? Like the activity, like the chain, I guess, utility was sitting at 82%. So the chain was sitting at 82% utilization. Now, of course, if it goes above 100%, then things slow down and it breaks. So before Sunday Swap even launched, the chain was already at 80. Probably capacity is a better word of saying this. 82% capacity. Sunday Swap launches and it's causing congestion on Cardano. And Charles Hoskinson, he's coming out saying the same thing, saying like, we already said that we were going to develop, growth mechanics, and we already said that we were working on scalability, and you guys are all fired and whatever. But guys, this is the point I'm trying to say. Like, a tiger does not change his stripes. The market knows this. They do the same thing. I'm not surprised in the slightest, because that's their MO. That's the way they are. So, Cardano, if you guys needed not financial advice, Cardano could probably turn around and just go to the moon, right? But I'm just sort of saying from the fundamental point of view, whatever happens with the price action, I don't know, is irrelevant. But the thesis around Cardano not being the most commercial, sure, they're great at that. They're great at, helping Africa and whatever. And even that I would be skeptical of. This is business at the end of the day. This is not a charity. So Cardano isn't the most pragmatic company, and that's what people with money sort of look at. So I'll end it on that. I know that was a little bit of a long one. We did jump around a little bit, gave some sort of fundamental investor advice as well. That's the market update. Your thoughts, your comments on anything that we haven't spoken about yet, Ahmed?
No, I think you gave a few really good inputs in regards to, the market is down, but that's not the end of the story. The story is much bigger than that. The story is actually getting ramped up right now with all this new products being developed, all these already known businesses that are now realizing, okay, well, crypto's kind of the future, so we got to do something, somehow merge ourselves with it, and somehow be aligned with it. So there's some exciting things that are happening. That's a good update. Thank you so much. I think we have Mufti Billal here. Mufti Billal, how are you doing? How's your day? You're in UK, right?
Assalamu alaikum, guys.
Walaikum assalam. Oh my God, look at that background. Look at that nude. Oh, Sheikh, when are you coming to Jeddah?
You get better every week, Mufti.
It's the light.
How's the weather in UK? Is it raining?
I think it was raining earlier.
Yes, I do it. It's always raining.
It's always raining earlier. We've had some rain too, but anyway, we can't hold that against anyone.
Fair enough. So, Mufti Billal, this week I think you were talking about a topic that was really demanded, I think 2 weeks back, but I think it's a very well needed topic, and it's a topic that if we cover now, it'll be really useful for the future.
It's regarding Alpaca Finance. Is that how you pronounce it? Alpaca.
Yeah, Alpaca. Yeah.
Alpaca Finance.
Apparently their meat is really good. Sorry? I was thinking about the actual animal.
It's quite interesting. I would encourage people to have a look at the website of Alpaca Finance. He actually explains to you, the reason why they chose that name. So, like for example, alpacas are animals that like to live on high ground. So this is a hint to tell you that with them, yield farming rewards is going to skyrocket. Yeah. So
I love that. The
yeah,
marketer
and
in me is going
there are many
crazy.
analogies they draw with the word alpaca. So
Love it.
I thought it was quite interesting. It's worth a read anyway on the website. But yeah, other than that, Alpaca Finance is basically a lending protocol, and it's pretty straightforward. If you go again on their website, they actually explain to you how it works, and they also give you, an example of what participants will be doing on the platform. So, like for example, what they have said is that you can participate on the platform in 3 different ways, but I think the main two one is being a lender or being a yield farmer. So how does the lending role take place? They have given an example where Alice is a lender and she deposits BNB into the lending vaults, and in exchange of the deposit, she receives IBBNB. Okay, now IBBNB is a token that's going to represent her share of the BNB that she has deposited in the lending vault. Now, these IBBNB tokens, they are going to basically generate interest, throughout, the throughout the life. The token is being deposited into the vault. Now, so this is one way of basically making profit by lending your assets and then taking interest payment. Now, obviously, based on what I have read and based on this example, this clearly informs me that there is lending activities taking place on the platform. Doesn't seem that it's a form of business or anything like that. It is lending, and therefore the reward is classified as interest, as riba, and therefore that's haram. That's not permissible. If you do not want to be a lender on Alpaca platform, then you can become a yield farmer. Now, what does a yield farmer do? Again, they have given an example on the platform. I think it was Bob, the name Bob. So Bob is a yield farmer, and he wants to borrow BNB. So the BNBs that have been deposited, for example, in the lending vault initially. So like Alice, she deposited the BNB in the lending vault, and then if Bob wants to borrow that, then he will be borrowing this BNB, and of course he will have to pay interest. Now, it was not clear to me whether the BNB that you have borrowed, whether you're going to stake it, for example, or whether you're going to put it into a different liquidity pool to get fees from trading activities, or maybe you can do any of these things. It wasn't too clear to me. Anyhow, no matter what you're going to be doing with the token itself. So even if you were to do, let's say, for example, scenario, you have borrowed the token, you have borrowed the BNB tokens, for example, from Alice, and you're going to use it in a halal manner. But the fact that you have agreed to borrow and repay interest, because you have to pay interest on that. The fact that you're doing that is not permissible either. So Alpaca Finance, to me, overall, it is not Sharia compliant. They have two main tokens. So one is the tokens that they give in exchange of the deposit that you put into the lending vault. These tokens, they can you obviously they're not compliant because they represent a form of debt, right? Because you can only get them once you have deposit your asset into the vault. So I don't think it'll be permissible to buy and trade these tokens either. There is another token which is called I think AUSD, so Alpaca USD, and again this no, just let me have a look again. So there is a different, I think it's the Alpaca token actually. I think yes. So you have the IB token and then you have the Alpaca token. So the IB token is basically it's the tokens that you get after depositing your crypto asset into the vault. And then you have the Alpaca token that you can use to interact into the protocol as well. I thought that I actually looked into it, thinking that maybe trading that token itself, so buying and trading that token itself, might be Sharia compliant. But my personal view is that it might not be Sharia compliant. There are certain things that are still gray around the Alpaca token itself. Like I think even by holding the token, you might be benefiting from the reward that gets generated from the lending activities, which is
Okay,
haram.
interesting. Yeah.
So for that reason, there are certain gray area around the Alpaca token. So I would not encourage people to buy and trade Alpaca token either. So IB, the IB token itself is not compliant, and the Alpaca token is gray, and therefore I would not encourage people to trade this. Now, Alpaca Finance might have other activities. I think they might be launching, or they might have launched an NFT market. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now, obviously, NFT. If you have an NFT market, as a Muslim investor, you can buy NFT provided that the NFT itself is Sharia compliant, right? The NFT is Sharia compliant, and the way you're going to purchase the NFT is also Sharia compliant. There is no issue. However, can you actually use the Alpaca token to purchase the NFT? Or can you use it to, now I don't know whether you can use just the Alpaca token on the platform, or whether you can also use the IB token as well to purchase the NFTs. I am not sure about that. But let's say, for example, you could, yeah, let's say for argument's sake, you could use the IB token to purchase NFT. Can you acquire these tokens to actually purchase the NFT? Obviously, I think the IB token is not compliant, so you couldn't do that. As for the Alpaca token, because it's kind of gray, I would not advise people either to purchase Alpaca token to go onto the NFT market of Alpaca and do trading. In my personal opinion, again, I believe that when a protocol is heavily, how can I say that, is heavily orientated towards haram activities such as lending, I think the bet is better to stay away from it. Even if they might have a token, sometimes some of these protocols, they have different tokens. Okay, they might have a separate token just for the governance, or for something that provide them a service that might be Sharia compliant. But I would not encourage people to even go in there and interact in that ecosystem, because in essence, you are supporting them, okay, indirectly, but you are supporting them. And I think, we need to approach DeFi in a very different way than, traditional finance and real life, ecosystem. I know that people will say, yeah, but we do interact with bank, this and that. That's fine. I think in DeFi, there is a different dynamic, and everything is kind of different. Each protocol has got its own bubble, its own world, its own ecosystem. You could easily do a lot of things on other platforms in a Sharia compliant manner. Like, for example, NFT market. If really you want to go and trade on the NFT market, you could do that. Now you even have, Sharia compliant NFT markets available to you. So why would you want to go specifically in a protocol?
Are you plugging in Souk NFT? Is that what you're doing?
Sorry?
Are you plugging in MRHB's product, Souk NFT?
Of course, we have our own Marhaba NFT. Of course,
yes, guys, Souk NFT is live. You guys should use
others.
it.
We do have others as well. I mean, that's good. The more the better. We do want a Muslim to succeed on the DeFi. So the more Sharia compliant markets they will be, the better it will be for Muslims.
Mhm.
But yes, you can go on the Marhaba Souk NFT, right? And
Alhamdulillah.
purchase NFTs. But yeah, overall, I think Alpaca Finance is not Sharia compliant,
So,
and you
so we
should
can
stay.
conclude it's non-Sharia compliant. We understand that the Alpaca finance right now is something to stay away from.
Yeah.
But Mufti Saab, what's your opinion on Alpaca itself?
What do you mean? Whether
The,
it is
the
tasty or
the
something?
meat. Yeah, the meat.
I don't know. I have never seen it. I mean, I've seen alpacas, but
Moby has seen it. Moby, you've seen alpacas, right?
no, I've seen it. They are.
You're mute, Moby.
But I've never ate it. Have you ate it?
Okay. I'm asking.
Can you eat
So I'm asking.
Can you eat alpacas? Are they halal?
That's exactly where I'm trying to get
What do
to.
their hooves look like? You know, look, they're pretty.
Then let us not conflate this show, right?
Yeah, let's not go there.
We're here to talk about halal crypto, not
Yeah,
halal food.
we don't need more
Listen.
trolls.
Listen, I was just trying to keep the show a little bit more entertaining.
Ahmed is
Okay,
hungry.
cool.
Right? Ahmed is hungry.
I look in life. You need to have K's. K's are constant. If you study math or physics, there's a K. It means constant. I'm at a K equals hungry. Constant is hungry. You can't. How else are you supposed to live? You know, you should always. And when I mean hungry, you should always be hungry for food, learning, ilm, deen, success, growth, XYZ. Okay, I'm going to live philosophical. That you for all that stuff. You can come to my own personal channel on the philosophical things, more on crypto. So thank you so much, Mufti Saab, for that. I think that's very important. A lot of people were investing in it. Even on my personal channel, I got a lot of questions about is Alpaca halal? Can I invest in it because of the high yields and all this stuff? So this has been really fruitful. We're gonna share this, in our social medias also, and so people can see this answer.
No
Now,
problem.
what's going on with Marhaba? What are the updates and all those things?
Before we move on,
Yes.
Mufti, you want to stay on or you want to jump off? Because in the past, Ahmed's spoken to you, but you're already gone. So I thought I would, I would do you guys a favor and let Mufti say salam if you're jumping off.
No, I'm going to leave now, unless you need me for something else.
No, you know what? If you stay, we get more views because of the noor on your face. But if you gotta go, I understand. You're busy.
I'm gonna switch the light off now. It's gonna be dark.
MashaAllah.
Thanks for
Take
joining
care,
us.
Sheikh.
No
Assalamu
worries.
alaikum.
Okay, take care. Assalamu alaikum.
Okay, cool. So that was a great answer. Now what's going on with Marhaba? Where are we? And all that stuff. So some news that are coming out. There is gonna be crypto new vesting period that is coming up. So new crypto will be released, and due to that, there's gonna be a lot of demand and all that stuff. So if you're interested, go buy the Marhaba tokens using PancakeSwap. But this is the exciting part. Inshallah, soon we're gonna simplify the entire method of getting to the Marhaba tokens through Sahal wallet. So I'm kind of giving you a sneak peek to one of the features, a really exciting feature where you can potentially buy Marhaba tokens with a few easy steps and with a credit card or a debit card or a card. And so there's an exciting feature that I'm really happy about, and I'm really looking forward to, because this will make a lot of people's lives easier. People will be getting involved with buying the Marhaba tokens a lot more, and obviously that's gonna create demand, and it's gonna have a lot of good impact on the product and utility and the tokens. So that's one exciting thing. The other exciting part is here. I'm gonna share my screen. Moby, I think it's been disabled for me, but that's okay.
Hold on.
Okay, until you do that, I'll share the other update.
When you're ready, go for it.
Okay, let's try that now. Fantastic. I got so many channels going, so let's do this one. No, let me just share my screen and then we can, obviously, no, not that. There you go. Okay.
I'll cut that part out.
We might, yeah, we might need to cut that out. Okay. Updates. What's going on? So, if you guys don't know, Marhaba holders can provide liquidity on PancakeSwap and earn a liquidity pool, providing rewards, and then take that and put it into a rewards dashboard and make more liquidity providing rewards, which right now it's going, because there's a lot more in the initial stages. It's looking at up to about 100 AP, or we call it EROI, which is because it's not interest, it's focused on rewards. So it's our return on investments. So you can read this entire dashboard. It's on our Twitter. Sorry, you can read this Medium link and this Medium article. It's a step-by-step guide as to how you can do all these things, connecting your wallet, buying the tokens, then putting it onto PancakeSwap, and then putting it onto the Marhaba reward dot. I think it's called reward dot. Yeah, exactly. Rewards dot MRHB dot network, and you can make more rewards from it. So you can read this Medium article either by going on our Medium or going on Twitter. All right. What's going on? Ahmed, what, any new strategic partnerships? Yes, some big news here. We are strategically partnering up with AnySwap. With AnySwap, you can take your tokens, you can swap MRHB tokens between multiple assets on supported blockchains. And so this way, it'll make your life easier. You can change your tokens from like a BEP to Ether. If you're someone who's been doing a lot of crypto trading, swapping, you'll understand that one of the most difficult things to do is to do this multi-chain based swapping, and it's a headache sometimes. Like, for example, I have Ethereum in my BEB20. Now I want to make Ethereum in my Ether, and it's like, what do I do? And I've had a hard time trying to switch it over on my MetaMask. Obviously now I know, I've learned, and you grow and all that stuff. But just because I never had to do it, I never thought about it. And now, because obviously YouTube and XYZ, I learned myself and I was able to do it. But if I knew AnySwap was there before our strategic partnership, I was just gonna go to them. So read about this. I'll check it out. It's some really exciting things that are happening. So those are some updates on to what's going on with Marhaba. Now, let me just stop sharing my screen. Boom, boom, boom. The token has held about a 10 cents position. We are actually gone up, and you guys have already seen the Moby, the tweet that Moby did, which was really funny, and I really liked it. I think we should retweet that, but I'll let my team know about that. That's a wrap. That kind of wraps up what's going on with Marhaba. You did your market update. We got Mufti Bilal's opinion on Alpaca. Any last little bit for our viewers? It's been a busy and a crazy week for crypto investors. What's your last little point for this for our family?
Only thing I'd add, I don't want to repeat myself and sound like a broken record, but the only thing I'll add, that just remove emotion out of it. Sometimes no decision is still a decision. You know what I mean? Like, if you're over leveraged, and look, honestly, you shouldn't be at this point, right? Not leverage. If you've over committed, I always sort of say have one of 2 or 3 coins maximum that long term you believe in. You don't care what happened with the price. Like for me, Ethereum is one, Marhaba is one. I might have 1 or 2 others. They're my long-term bags. I don't care if it goes down. I know long-term that's not going away anywhere. For a lot of people, it's Bitcoin. But, no decision is also a decision as well. So take your emotion out of it. Guys, we're kind of at, sometimes denial phase. You think it's not going to go lower, it's going to go higher. Just be smart. Take decision. Sell some of your bags. Like a couple of weeks ago, I felt like I missed the Solana sell-off, and I sold at 140, half of my stuff at 140. Now it's at 90, and I'm very happy with that. So yeah, just remove emotion and take care of yourselves, guys. And take a break from crypto now and again, because it can drive you crazy.
Just go out, go to the wilderness, and get yourself a small
alpaca or a watermelon. Yeah,
alpaca. Screw the watermelon. Get yourself a small alpaca. But before that, research if it's Sharia compliant or not. And invite me and Moby to the barbecue. Come on, you can't have a barbecue with us two. I'm actually really good at barbecuing, so there's my little sales pitch. Anywho, guys, it's been a sad week. I try to add some fun to this show. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed. If you guys had questions, comments, anything in regards to what's going on with Marhaba crypto, just you want someone to talk to about what has happened to your portfolio, you're down, leave us a message in the comments. We will try to get back to you, and we will have you in our thoughts about, because we all are going through the whole thing together. Let's go together through this as a family. Take care of yourself. COVID is getting worse and worse globally. Wear your mask, all the SOPs and all that stuff. Do everything that your government is telling you to do. It's not worth risking. Protect yourself and take care of yourself. As always, Assalamu alaikum.
See you next time. Assalamu alaikum.